we are going to start a nice page of notes. And I'm going to title my page first. This is Algebra 2, Unit 2. And today, again, is day 10 in Algebra 2. So I'm going to write day 10 notes. Today's date, again, is Tuesday, October 21st. And to summarize what we kind of just looked like, the title that we're going to be giving today's notes is Parabolas. Is this a new word for anyone? Parabola?
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to repeat it after me. Parabola.
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 Good. Parabola. A parabola is the graph of a quadratic equation. It's what we were just doing. And you saw a little peek of that yesterday. So I will write here the graph of a quadratic equation. Now, at each of your tables, you should have a pad of sticky notes that looks like this. It's graphing notes. If your table does not have one of these, please raise your hand and I'll bring your table a pad. But you just need one right now. And it's just going to go right here under the word parabola.
I don't think we have.
You guys don't have any? There's one right here. I'll pause it while you make sure. Okay, good. All right, so once you've gotten this little definition written down and you've got your graph sticky note on your paper, I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I am doing on this graph sticky note. But we are going to draw an x-axis and a y-axis. So if you have trouble finding the center, you can always fold it in half and just leave a little piece. And that will tell you, okay, about right here, I can see that fold. That's where my center line is. And that's where I'm going to draw my arrows. And then I will connect those arrows for my y-axis. Just like that. And we will label that with y for the y-axis. And you can use that folding trick again to find the center for your x-axis. So let's see where that leaves me. Right about there. So arrows. Every time I say arrows, I think of one of my old students. I had a third grader whose first name was Eros and his last name was Smith. So his name was Aerosmith. So funny. I thought that was so creative.
Wow.
I know. Always his little face pops into my brain every time I say
favorite one.
it just cracks me up. Okay, so there's my x-axis and my y-axis. And this next part can take a little bit of time, so I'll be patient with everybody. Make sure you have time to do it. We're just going to draw some little tick marks and label our numbers. I know it's really small. If you want not put numbers so it doesn't look so crammed together. You don't have to put numbers for your tick marks, but you'll have to be very careful when you count to make sure that you're lining up your points on the correct number. So on my x-axis to the right, just like we did earlier, we have positive numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then to the left, you have negatives. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Could go to -7 if you want, but that's okay. So my zero's in the middle, but the y-axis also needs to be labeled. My positive numbers on the y-axis will go up. Negatives will be down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the negatives start below 0. -1, -2, 3, -4, 5, -6. Okay, and I will pause while everybody gets their graphs labeled. And what I'm going to do next is we're going to put some zeros on our graph. Zeros, what does that mean? I'm putting numbers on the x-axis where my y value would be 0. So we call them zeros. These are our roots or our x's. So I am going to put a point on the x-axis at 2 and at 6. So 2, +2 right here, and +6. The center point between 2 and 6 would be 4. So our axis of symmetry is going to go through 4. +4. So we'll draw a dotted line going through 4. And then we are going to put another point up at 6. Hi, Lewis. Hello, hello. So I put my 2 x points on the x-axis. I put my axis of symmetry down. And now I want to put a point at 6, +6, on the y-axis. Right here. And then one last point after that. We're going to put a point at 4 for x, -3 for y. So 4, -3 will be right here. I'll label this one. 4, -3. Remember the x value comes first, so trace over to 4 on the x-axis. The y value is second, so now I go down to -3, and that is 4, -3. Now, the trickiest part of a parabola is probably drawing the thing because it's a little bit funky. Just because it can be tricky to go right through all your dots perfectly. So what we are going to do, lastly, is we're going to connect this point down here up to 2, up to 6, just like this. We're going to curve it up through 2 and curve it up to 6.
Where did all these numbers come from?
I just gave them to you. They're just random.
Okay.
Just random. I'm just giving you random numbers.
When did you start curving line? Alright, I'll just show
Since today. It's
Yeah.
brand new. So we just
figure it out
curved that up there. And next, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to curve it up through the 6, and mine's not perfect. Okay. And then we're just going to kind of guess about where this one would go. It doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, mine is not. And then what we're going to do is, instead of graphing by hand, like I kind of started you on earlier, all we're going to have to do for this unit is label things, which is nice. So a graph will already be given to you. You won't have to draw this. I will give you a graph, and you just label it. So before I start talking about the labels, does anyone want more time to copy this graph down? I'm happy to wait a minute. Can I move forward? Can I scooch it over just a little? Anyone need more time? I'll scooch it just a little bit. I'll make sure you can still see it. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to write a little key of things to identify sort of features of this parabola. So the very first thing that we always look at is direction. And you'll have two options for direction, up or down. Now, just by looking at this, is this facing up or down? What do you think?
Up.
Up. Boom, done. Circle up.
Oh, no.
There you go. Okay, now the next thing that we'll be identifying is the vertex. So we're going to write vertex, VERTEX. And the vertex will always be a coordinate. It will be an x value, then a y value. So it might not be a bad idea to label an x and a y, if that's something that helps you. And does anybody have a guess or maybe know what the vertex of this graph might be?
4, -3.
4, -3. Yes, the vertex is 4, -3. It's always going to be, if it's facing up, it'll be the lowest point on the graph. If it's facing down, that vertex will be the highest point on the graph. In this case, it's the lowest point. So 4, -3. That's my vertex.
What's this the coordinates?
The next feature we will identify is the axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry. And the axis of symmetry will always be written as x equals, and then it will be a number. Now, the axis of symmetry is going to be that center line, the line that goes through the vertex. And here's a little trick. Once you know what your vertex is, the axis of symmetry is the same number as the x value. So notice the axis of symmetry goes through 4. The vertex has an x value of 4. Those numbers will always match. So 4, x equals 4. And I like to put a little arrow to show these numbers always match. There will never be a parabola where they don't match. And if they don't match, then you know one of your values is written incorrect. They're always the same. Now, after axis of symmetry, we have two more things. We have what we call zeros. Or sometimes you'll see it written as x intercepts. Now, you may have heard the word intercept, for example, in football, like an interception. That's when you like catch the ball, right? Okay, so what we are doing here for the x-intercept is it's basically saying where is the x-axis sort of catching this graph? Where does the graph cross the x-axis?
2 and 6.
2 and 6. Yeah. So my x-intercepts would be, we can put a little bracket here. 2, 6. Now, this is not a coordinate. If you put parentheses, that will not be correct. You can put brackets, or you can put x equals 2, 6. Either one I will take, but do not put it in parentheses. Now, those brackets, they look kind of fancy. If you're not sure how to draw them, that's okay. I know a lot of us struggle with brackets. Let me see if I can give you a quick little tutorial. If you want to draw these brackets, think of it like I'm drawing an S, and then I'm going to draw an S backwards. I'm drawing an S backwards, and then I'm drawing an S. Something like that. If you can't do that, though, if you find that this is too difficult, I'm okay with just squiggly lines. Because I'll get the idea.
That works.
I get it. This, I can tell this is not parentheses. But do not do this. This is wrong. It's not correct. Squigglies I'll take. Brackets I'll take. Parentheses, no. All right. So we got our zeros, our x-intercepts. Where do we touch the x-axis at 2 and 6? Got it. And last but not least, we have one value that is the y-intercept. Does anyone know where the y-intercept might be on this graph?
On 6.
On 6, yes. It's the same as x-intercepts, except now I'm thinking, where does my parabola cross over the y-axis? And the y-axis is the one that goes up and down. And you can see if I trace that line, oh, we're crossing at y equals 6. So our y-intercept would be y equals 6. There we go. Should usually have 2 zeros, 2 x-intercepts. Usually 1 y-intercept. There are special cases, but we'll run across those, I'm sure, at some point today. So there we go. There's our notes on parabolas. Now, if this looks like I'm not going to be able to look back at this later, and I don't know what this is going to mean, I do like to use some colors, maybe highlight things. For example, maybe I'll make the vertex purple. I'll highlight that. Vertex. That's right here. If something like that helps you, do it. If it doesn't, then feel free to take a break and you can watch me do it. My axis of symmetry, I've already got that labeled as red and red, but if you want to make it even more obvious, do like maybe pink. And then I can make my dotted line pink. There.
Where'd you get those highlighters? Those are cute.
I got them actually from here. I have a bunch of there's a supply closet that has a bunch of them here. So if you guys don't have these highlighters at your tables, I can totally go steal some for you.
Yes.
Bring them here.
I think so.
Okay. Do y'all need highlighters at your tables? I know you guys have some. You want me to go grab the box real quick?
This one pops up.
Okay. Why don't I? Yeah, I haven't restocked your guys' stuff in a while. Give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna get you guys some highlighters. All right. So now we have highlighters. So I've just highlighted my vertex in purple. Did my axis of symmetry in pink. I think I'll do my zeros or my x-intercepts in orange. So I'll highlight zeros for x-intercepts. And we got 2 and 6. So I'm just going to highlight that point on 2 on the x-axis and 6. And see, already when I look at this compared to without the highlighting, I can tell what is what much easier. Colors help. And then I like to do my Y in blue. So I'll highlight my y-intercept in blue and highlight that 6-point blue as well. And there we go. And I'll leave this up while you guys finish your notes. All right, so I just passed out a worksheet that looks like this. It says characteristics of parabolas. And I am just going to write up here that this is a day 10 worksheet for my own keeping track purposes. Okay, and the date, October 21st. And let's look at a few of these together and just make sure that we've got the hang of this. So for number 1, it says for the provided graph of a parabola, determine key features and record them in the table. So the first item is direction of opening. What would this graph be?
Up.
Up. I can see it points up. So the direction it is up. Now, we didn't talk about this next thing. It says number of zeros. That just means how many times does it cross the x-axis. I won't be asking you this in the future, so you can cross this out. The answer would be 2. There's 2 zeros, but I won't be asking you this. You don't have to know it. Now, when it says location of zeros, this means where are the x-intercepts. So, where does this graph cross the x-axis?
-2 and +6.
Yes, -2, +6. So we can write, remember, either x equals -2, comma, +6, or we can do the brackets. -2, comma, 6.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Does it matter what order? Like, could we do 6, -2?
Good question. Does it matter the order? Can I do 6 first and then -2? Yes, you can. It does not matter what order as long as you have the correct numbers. That's a good question. And I'll repeat that again. For your zeros or your x-intercepts, it is okay if you wrote 6 first or if you wrote -2 first. I'm not going to be picky on the order as long as you have the correct numbers. I'll take it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll label on my graph as well. I'll circle those and just say 0 for x intercept. 0 for x intercept. So next, we want to find the y-intercept. Now, I know on the first example, our y-intercept was way, way up high, but on this graph,
So -3.
yes. So I'm looking and I'm looking, And I know my y-axis, let me get that to focus, is the line that goes up and down. And oh, there's a point on my y-axis right in between -2 and -4. So that is -3. That is my y-intercept. Y-intercept. And we said that is at -3. So we will put y equals -3. Now, the only thing that you will need to draw on your graph is the next feature, the axis of symmetry. This time, the axis of symmetry has not been drawn for you, but the vertex has been drawn for you. So I'm going to zoom in on my graph and let's take a look. If you are having a hard time figuring out where the axis of symmetry is, where that center line is, you can use a ruler and you can find that lowest point or that highest point, the vertex. I'm just going to place my ruler right up against that point, and let's see, what number does it line up with? 2. 2 on the x-axis. So sometimes it helps to be able to see that. I'm going to draw it in. I know right here goes through 2. I'm just going to follow those dots all the way up. All the way down. And it crosses through x equals 2. So that is our axis of symmetry, x equals 2. Scoot over. And right here, x equals 2. And once we have our axis of symmetry, the next item says min or max/min value. So the maximum value or the minimum value. This is a feature that I will not ask you for, but if you are curious, this would be a y value. We're looking to see how high does the graph go or how low does the graph go. So thinking about this, do I have a lowest point on this graph? I do. -4. It lines up right here. -4 is my lowest point. Do I have a highest point?
No.
No. I don't have a highest point because these arrows mean the graph continues for infinity forever. That means, let me make a little marking here. -4 is my min. And then my max is up here. And we would label it as infinity. Sideways 8 is what that looks like. So I'll show you how to write that. This is going to be sneak peek. This will be a bonus question. So just so you know, when the quiz comes, it'll be a bonus.
So on that, would you put infinity?
I will show you how to write it. You will use that infinity symbol, yes, but there's a special way that we write it. Again, this will be a bonus. So let me mark to the side. This is just a bonus question. And the way that we write the minimum to the maximum, we always start with the smallest value. So I don't like to do max first. But our lowest value, the minimum, we said was -4. So what we do is we start with the minimum, put a bracket, it's like a little half square, and we'll write the minimum, -4. Then we put a comma, and then we write infinity, which is just a sideways 8. And then we put parentheses. Infinity gets parentheses. Numbers get brackets. Weird, but that's what we do. Okay. Last but not least, we need to mark the vertex.
Yeah.
Can you show the graph part real fast?
Yes.
Like,
Absolutely.
what's
Oh,
that's never mind. I got you. Is it again?
Yes,
Time
it
out.
would be. Right. You figured it out as you said it?
Yeah.
Hey, that's good.
Excellent. That's two. Those are good.
Okay, so Amber just told me correctly. Our vertex is that lowest point here. The x value, it's the same as the axis of symmetry, it's 2. And then the y value is -4 for the vertex. So I'm going to write, circle that, and label it as my vertex. And it's 2, -4. And this is a coordinate, so we do put it in parentheses. I'll put a check mark next to the things that I will want you to know, and that's just the direction, the x-intercepts or the zeros, the y-intercept, axis of symmetry, and vertex. So just these 5. These other 2, you don't necessarily have to know. These are optional. Okay. Now, as you guys are copying this down, I will take a quick peek at the time. It is 10:24. We're right about at the end of first period here. And I'm sure we could all use a little break. So, we're going to take a 15-minute break. When you guys come back, I'm not going to keep you super, super long. I'll let you out a little bit early because this is the bulk of our lesson today. Just wanting to give you an idea of what parabolas are. And whenever you do get back, we will practice another couple of these. I'll have you try some on your own, and then I'll give you an exit ticket. So, light at the end of the tunnel. We're almost done today. I will pause our recording for now, and it is 10:25. Let's just be back in here. I will start back up no later than 10:40. That's 15 minutes. So 10:40. Take a break. Do what you need to do. So we are back from that little break. And for number 2, first thing, I want to know the direction of opening for this parabola. Are we up or down? Up. I have my arrows at the ends pointing up, so that is our direction. Up. Now, we don't have to do the next one. We can cross it out if we want. But there's 2 zeros on the x-axis.
-3 and 9.
Yeah, okay, so let's see. Location of zeros. Did I hear -3, -9?
Yeah.
That's correct. So we're looking for the points on the x-axis for zeros. That would be -3 and -9. You could also put -9 first. That is fine with me. Either way. Okay. Yeah. What about my y-intercept? 9. Where does it touch the y-axis? Right here. In between the 8 and 10. So that would be 9. Y equals 9. Okay. Now, Where is my axis of symmetry?
-6.
-6. Good. We'll find that center point right here. And if I follow it up and down, we can see it crosses right through -6 on the x-axis. So my axis of symmetry is x equals -6. We'll skip the max and min value for now, and let's look at the vertex. Where's my vertex?
-6, -3.
Uh-huh. So we're looking at this point here. It'll have the same x value as the axis of symmetry. So I know my first point of my vertex is -6. All we need to do from there is trace over and see where it falls on the y-axis. And it's right below -2, but before -4. So that would be -3. So -6, -3. Now on your vertex, it will matter which number you write first and second, because remember x comes first, then y. And we'll take a look back at the max and min value. And if this helps you remember, we're looking at how far up it goes and how far down it goes. You can draw a little arrow up and down. This is a bonus question. It's writing bonus. And we like to start from the smallest, so from low to high. So, is there a lowest point on this graph?
Yes.
There is. So I'm looking at where does it fall on the y-axis? Where is that lowest point?
-3.
-3. So we start with a bracket, -3, comma. Is there a highest point? 9. There is a 9 on the y-axis, but does my graph go any higher than that?
Yeah, so it's infinity.
Yes. Okay, so here's where it can get tricky. Notice how we have arrows. Arrows at the end of a parabola or end of a line, anything on a graph. If you see arrows, that means it goes on for infinity. It never ends. So while this is technically the highest point, it's not the highest the graph itself goes. The graph goes all the way up to infinity. So that little sideways 8 parenthesis. This is bonus. So -3 is the low point, infinity is the high point. Like this. Minimum goes through -3, and we go all the way up to infinity is our max. Never ends. All right, all right. Now, we haven't done one where the direction is down yet, so let's actually look at number 3 together before I have you do the rest on your own. Before I go to number 3, does anyone still need to see 2? Happy to wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to move it up. Stop me if you need to see it still. And now let's look at number 3. And the first thing I like to do is I like to add arrows to the ends of the parabola, because they didn't do that on this worksheet. So this time, the direction of opening, what would the direction be now?
Yeah.
Down. We're facing down. So down is the direction. And I don't need the number of zeros, but you know, there's 2 of them. What are my zeros? Yes, there's a 0 at 2 and there's a 0 at -6, my x-intercepts. So I'm going to write 6, or not 6, -6, 2, +2. So my x's. Where is my y-intercept? 6, right here. That's just the y-axis, that's 6. So y equals 6. Okay. Now for our axis of symmetry. I'm going to find my vertex, and usually I'll have you do the vertex first, just because once you see the vertex, the axis of symmetry is a little easier to draw. Here's my point. Whenever I draw my dotted line, -2 is what we go through. Good. So how would I write my axis of symmetry? Yes, x equals -2. We are going through -2 on the x-axis. X equals -2. And we'll wait on the value for max and min. Now let's look at the vertex. So my vertex, let's see. This time it's not a lowest point. It's a highest point. So I need an x value and a y value for this point. What would my x value be?
-2.
-2, same as the symmetry. And what would my y value be?
8.
8. Good. Goes right through 8. So -2, 8 is my vertex. Now, if you're interested in doing the bonus, the max and min value, again, that's how low does it start and then how high does it go. So before we identify anything, let's think about the lowest point on the graph. Is there a lowest point on this graph?
Would it be infinity?
Yes, this time it goes down for infinity. Now, if you have infinity down, we do have to write it just slightly different. Instead of infinity, that means it's going infinitely positive. This time we're going infinitely negative.
So it'd be negative.
Negative infinity, yes. So infinity gets the parenthesis, and we write negative, sideways number 8. Looks like negative infinity, comma, that's our lowest point. And do we have a maximum point, a highest value?
8.
8, yes, the y value of the vertex. So 8, the number gets a bracket. Good. So, I'm going to just write here, my min, negative infinity. And my max is at the vertex here. Okay, so we've done 4 of these together as a class now. 1 in our notes, 3 on this worksheet. So what we are going to do now is I'm going to set just a 15-minute timer here. And if you flip your page to the back side, you'll see there are 3 more. So in those 15 minutes, I would like for you guys to try to label the back 3 on your own or with the people at your table. Feel free to help each other. And feel free to ask for help if you need it. I'm going to be trying to catch up on some of the grading from yesterday while you guys work on that. But please feel free to come up and ask me if you need any help. I'll pause this, set a little timer, When the timer goes off, we will go over the answers, make sure we feel good about it. I'll give you an exit ticket, and that'll be it for today. So let me pause this and set a little timer for you. All right, so timer's up. We are now on the back side of that worksheet looking at numbers 4 through 6. So for number 4, what's my direction of opening? Up. Good. Put my up arrows. The direction is up. Where are my zeros?
-1 and -3.
Good. -1 and -3. What about my y-intercept?
9.
9. Y equals 9. Good. My axis of symmetry? Good. Right in between that -1 and -4, -2. So x equals -2. We'll go back to the max and min in a second here. What's my vertex?
-2, -3.
Good. Same x value as the axis of symmetry. So -2 for x. And my y value is -3. That's my vertex. Did anybody try the max and min on this one?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody feel brave and want to tell me what they put?
-3 and infinity.
Okay, -3 is my minimum value. Infinity is my maximum. Now, what goes outside of -3? Bracket, not parentheses. And infinity?
The
Parentheses. Good. Perfect. That is number 4. Okay, let's look at number 5. What's the direction now?
Yeah.
Down. Arrows. Hands there. Where are my zeros?
3 and 1.
Good. -3 and -9. My y-intercept?
1.
1. 1 would be right here.
-3.
-3. We are looking at where does it touch the y-axis. That's okay. That's all right. So that is at -3. Y equals -3. Where is my axis of symmetry? Yes, -6. X is -6. My vertex? Oh, my max and min. Yes. Would negative infinity. Let's come back to that. What's my vertex real quick?
-6.
Yes, my x value is the same as the symmetry, -6. And +1. Okay, so now max and min. Jocelyn, were you about to give me that? Negative infinity is my lowest point, so I'll write that in. Negative infinity. And -3 is my y-intercept, but is there any points higher on this graph? -6 is down here.
Oh, +1.
So the vertex is always going to give us your highest or lowest value. It goes all the way up to y is +1 here. So
+1 is the max.
+1 is the max. The graph goes no higher than that.
Do we need to write, or does it not matter when we write in the answer?
When we write in the answer,
Like I know the bracket goes with your infinity symbol.
so the bracket always goes with the number.
Okay.
So we think of infinity as kind of a symbol. We always just put parentheses there.
That's
Bracket
right.
goes on 1. There we go.
I thought it was something.
Okay, that was number 5. And last but not least, let's look at number 6. What's my direction? Up. And my zeros. Good. There's one at 3 and at -9. Okay. Y-intercept. -3. Axis of symmetry. Another -3. But this time for X. Equal. -3 is where we cross through. Then we'll skip over max and min. Look at the vertex. This one's a little tricky looking just because we've got kind of a bigger curve here. Sometimes I may see somebody mix up the vertex with that y-intercept, but remember there is a point that's lower. It goes through the axis of symmetry. -3 is my x value. And that lines up with -4 on the y-axis. Okay, so what's my minimum value? -4. Good. Do I have a maximum value? Infinity. So now I have the numbers. Where does my bracket go?
On the number.
On the number, -4. And my parentheses are always on infinity. Good. Good, guys. Okay, so that is it today. That's it. I'm going to give you your exit ticket, which I already have made. I just need to run copies for you all. So I'm going to display that on the board in case any of you want to start working on it, or if you just want to kind of look at it. But this will be the problem for your exit ticket. You will fill this out, and that will be it. So let me pause my recording. I'm assuming nobody's going to want to draw this. That will take you a while. Give me about 30, well, maybe a minute or so, and I'm going to make copies for everyone, and this is it. You will free to go once you finish this. So I'm going to pause that and go run copies. Here is the full exit ticket.